Namaste and Swagatam once again. Like any other action, prayer produces a result. And as I mentioned before, there are twofold results. Is drishta phala, the one that is immediately seen, and adrishta phala, the other that is unseen or will happen later. For example, in the American rain dance you might have heard of, the immediate result seen is it brings all the tribes from all over the country together at one specific spot. They have a chance to take a census, to meet new family, to arrange marriages, to exchange ideas, etc. Immediately you see people get together when you have pujas, etc., or this big rain dance. It does not mean rain may actually come. If it comes, all better. And adrishta phala is, it keeps the tribe together, keeps the people together. They say the people that pray together will succeed and be happy together. It keeps that camaraderie, it keeps that tradition going. Now the immediate result of prayer can be in the inner comfort that is gained from surrendering your limitations to Ishvara. And that frees you from the anxiety because you know you don't have total control over most things. There's an uncertainty that's still there somewhere. So you say, I surrender this to you, oh God. You please take care of those things that I can't see. The unseen result of prayer may refer to that subtle result called punya, which accrues to the doer of the action. And this punya may manifest later in the form of a comfortable situation, whether in this life or another. See, when one prays for success, the accrued punya or grace or luck helps neutralize the unforeseen obstacles, that could happen unexpectedly. Now this grace may not always ensure success, but think about it. Without that, the outcome could have been worse. It may not stop a tragedy, but it may soften it. Now there are 4 types of devotees that pray. Bhagavad Gita in chapter 7 verse 16 says, Chaturvidam bhajante mam janaha sukratino arjuna arto jignasur artharthi Jnaani bharata shabha. The first one is an Artah, the type of devotee that only prays when there is a crisis or a difficulty. And when things are going well, they don't pray. If something goes well, they say, I did it. They attribute that to their success. And when something goes wrong, they run to the altar. I'm in trouble, I'm in a crisis, I need to pray. That's the only time they remember God, or Ishvara. That's the first. As the verse says, there's an Artah, there's an Arthaarthi, there's a Jignaasu, and there's a Jnani. So this first one is Artah. Now the Arthaarthi is the one who is aware of God, aware of Ishvara's presence. He's not in a crisis or a difficulty here, but knowing that from his tradition that he can get benefits of God, he prays for material gains and pleasure. Difference. The first one is in a crisis, only then he prays. The second one is not in a crisis, but says, I want something from God, so he prays for, wealth, marriage, pass exams, whatever, etc. And then the third one is called a Jignaasu. The Jignaasu prays for the inner growth and maturity to gain spiritual knowledge. The first one prays, Artha, because he's in trouble. The second one wants something physical or material from God. And the Jignaasu is praying to be a better devotee. He's praying as a duty. He's praying for inner growth and maturity. He's praying because he knows, if I pray to God in this manner, I become a better spiritual person. Really, in effect, the Jignaasu is the one that prays for spiritual knowledge. And then there's the Jnani. That is the wise person who also is a bhakta, who understands his identity with Ishvara. You may see him pray, you may see him not pray, or her pray or not pray. But their expression, their prayer is an expression of the wisdom of this identity, and that is the highest form of prayer. So if you notice, there are stages there. The Artha seems to be at a low stage where he just prays because he's in trouble. Arthaarthi is a little bit higher, where he prays because, or she prays because they want some material gain or some pleasure. The Jignaasu knows his identification with the Lord. He wants to gain spiritual knowledge. He knows that is the method needed. As we will discuss later in the Upanishad, Brahma vidapnoti param. And many shlokas that discuss the importance of knowledge. Nahi jnanena satrisham pavitram iha vidyate. And this Jignaasu prays for to gain this spiritual knowledge. And then the Jnani already has learned this spiritual knowledge, and his life is an expression of that identity with Ishvara. So the goal here is to go from an Artha to Arthaarthi to Jignaasu to a Jnani, not to be stagnant. Many people are stagnant at one stage, they don't get involved in religion, and they complain that what is there from religion, it's just controlling, it has too much demands, but they haven't even dealt with religion to know what else it can offer them. They just make excuses. And they're usually at the first two stages, Artha and Arthaarthi. They haven't come to the stage of Jignaasu or Jnani. So I say, if you understand, as Bhagavad Gita says, there's 4 types of devotee, 4 stages. See where you fit in and move along that path. And I know when you get to the stage of Jignaasu, and if you become a Jnani, you don't have these questions or these problems anymore. So please note that this tradition has different types of devotees, different levels, and it encourages you to go from one stage to another. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.